All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever had that feeling? You want to learn a new language or pick up an instrument or maybe finally figure out how to code, but just the thought of how long it would take, it's just completely paralyzing. Well, today we're going to break down a book that might just change how you think about all of that. The First 20 Hours by Josh Kaufman.
And this is how the author, Josh Kaufman, kicks things off. Not as some genius on a mountaintop, but as a self-professed learning addict. See, he's basically one of us. He totally gets that itch, that desire to learn everything all at once. I mean, his to-do list for learning wasn't just a few things. It was hundreds of items long. And come on, doesn't that sound familiar? Think about that guitar sitting in the corner, or that stack of books on a topic you swore you were going to master this year. Kaufman felt that exact same pressure, that same sense of being overwhelmed. But here's the thing. Instead of letting that list just sit there gathering dust, he got obsessed with the problem. How do you get past the most painful part of learning something new? That beginning phase where you just feel clumsy and totally incompetent? And how do you do it fast? This book is his answer.
Okay, so the very first thing we have to do is a huge mental reframe. This whole concept, the entire idea, it all hinges on one thing. You've got to throw out the goal of mastery.
We've all heard about that 10,000-hour rule, right? The idea that it takes practically a lifetime to become a true world-class expert. But Kaufman's big idea is that we're mixing up expertise with proficiency. For most things in life, you don't need to be a world-class expert. You just want to be good enough to have fun. Play a few songs around a campfire, have a basic conversation in Spanish, build a simple website. And getting there, he says, that only takes about 20 hours.
So here's a crucial point. Those first 20 hours, they aren't about becoming great. They are all about getting past what he calls the frustration barrier. That's that point where learning is just not fun at all, and it's where you're most likely to just give up. The whole game is about blasting through that barrier as quickly as you possibly can. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, Kaufman lays out a really simple 4-step framework to get you through those first 20 hours as efficiently as possible.
And you know what? The framework is actually super simple. First, you deconstruct the skill, you break it down into the smallest little pieces. Second, you learn just enough so you can tell when you're making a mistake and, practice intelligently. Third, you've got to remove the barriers, anything that gets in the way of you actually sitting down to practice. And finally, you commit to practicing the most important of those little pieces for at least 20 hours. So let's dig into a couple of the most important steps here.
Let's really focus on that first step, because honestly, it is absolutely the most important one. Deconstruction is all about taking that big, scary skill and just pulling it apart to see what it's really made of.
And Kaufman offers this brilliant, if kind of counterintuitive technique to do this. It's called inversion.
So instead of asking, what do I need to do to be good at this? You flip the entire question on its head. You ask, what would a total epic disaster look like? Seriously. By imagining the absolute worst-case scenario, you can immediately pinpoint the most critical things you need to learn to stop that disaster from ever happening.
Let's take something like whitewater kayaking. What does a total disaster look like? Well, you flip over and you can't get back up. Or your kayak floods and starts sinking. You lose your paddle. You hit your head on a rock. You get trapped. By imagining these really specific, kind of scary things, you're not just vaguely thinking about kayaking anymore.
And just like that, you have your to-do list for practice. Before you even touch a raging river, you know exactly what to work on. You need to learn how to roll the kayak, how to secure your paddle, how to spot the dangerous parts of a river. It just cuts through all the noise and gets right to what really matters most. Okay, let's jump to another really key part of this method, removing the barriers to practice. Because let's be real, knowing what to do is completely useless if you never actually get around to doing it, right?
So Kaufman points out 3 types of barriers. You've got physical barriers. Is your guitar in its case, in the back of the closet, under a pile of laundry? Then there are mental barriers. Is your phone buzzing with notifications every 2 minutes? And finally, emotional barriers. Are you avoiding practice because you're scared of feeling dumb or frustrated? You have to be honest and tackle all 3.
And this all boils down to engineering your environment for success. Put that guitar on a stand right next to your couch, not in the closet. Turn your phone off and, better yet, put it in another room. The goal is to make practicing the path of least resistance, the easiest, most obvious choice you can make.
So, does all this theory actually work in the real world? Well, let's look at Kaufman's own experiment where he really put his money where his mouth is. He decided to learn the ukulele.
And he set a very specific, tangible goal. It wasn't just learn the ukulele. It was learn to play one specific song well enough to get on stage and perform it live. Yeah, the pressure was definitely on.
Now, his friend, Derek Sivers, gave him this incredible piece of advice, which is just a perfect example of deconstruction. He said, don't try to learn the lyrics, the melody, and the chord changes all at the same time. You gotta isolate the parts. So first, just memorize the song by singing it. Then learn the chords by themselves. Then you put them together. Brilliant.
So, with this really focused method, how long do you think it took him to get ready for the stage? Now remember, the book is called The First 20 Hours, but for this particular experiment, get this, it only took him 10.
Just 10 hours of practice. That's it. To put that in perspective, that's less than 45 minutes a day for 2 weeks to go from knowing absolutely nothing to doing a live performance.
And the result? Well, it was a total success. He got up on stage and he played the whole song without a single mistake. No messed up chords, no missed beats, didn't forget the words. The audience absolutely loved it. He had actually done it, gone from total beginner to competent performer in record time.
And that, right there, is really the whole point of this. The barrier to learning a new skill isn't nearly as high or as scary as we think it is. It's not about some magical talent or grinding for 10,000 hours. It's about a short, focused, intelligent burst of practice that gets you over that initial, frustrating hump. So the real question is for you now. You have the framework. It's simple, it's been proven, and it's totally accessible. So what's that skill you've been putting off? What are you going to learn in your first 20 hours?